Hello everyone, and today we're going to be talking about quite an interesting yet mind-boggling World War II story. An event that goes, pretty widely unknown by people. I mean, I didn't even really know that this event took place until about a couple months ago. I'm just now deciding to talk about it in a video. This event is known as the Ramree Massacre. Now, most people have not heard of the Ramree Massacre, which is kind of insane because of how it wasn't like significant in like perspective of the war, but the events that took place in the Ramree Massacre are pretty incredible and pretty startling to think about, that, and hard to believe that this even happened. So I'm going to be telling you the story of what is known as the Ramree Massacre. So this took place in January and February of 1945. It's part of the greater Battle of Ramree Island, known as the Battle of Ramree Island. Just to give you perspective, I'm going to show you where Ramree Island is located. So as you're probably able to see right here, this is Ramree Island. So I'm just going to zoom out here. This is the world. If you guys have never seen the world before, what it should be, once these squares line up. So this is the world, okay? So Ramree Island is located about here, Southeast Asia region. So as you can see here, it's right off the coast of Myanmar today. Now, if you know anything about history, in the 1940s, Myanmar, or I guess it was Burma this time. Burma was part of the greater British Empire. However, during this part of the war, the Japanese had taken over and claimed military occupation of the island of Ramree, as they did with most of Southeast Asia, the Japanese Empire, back during that time. So this is Ramree Island. Now today it's much of a different place than it was back in 1945, because now it's pretty well inhabited. Back in 1945, this island was pretty much, a lush mangrove swamp. That's really the only way you can put it. And so basically, in January, I believe it was January the 26th of 1945, the British launched an offensive to try to take back Ramree Island from the Japanese. And at first, they're doing very well against the Japanese, but the emperor at the time was Hirohito, and Hirohito had a policy during the Second World War that Japan will not surrender to anybody. Under any circumstances whatsoever, do not surrender. So the Japanese were getting pushed back through their couple, stations that they had on Ramree Island. And so they were basically forced to retreat. They didn't surrender. They retreated. Now, the Japanese lost the Battle of Ramree Island, but it was not because of, being defeated by the Allied forces. It was for a different reason. And so they were forced to basically retreat, and the only way they could get through was they had to walk through mangrove swamp for weeks. Basically, it's a couple weeks. So, that might not sound too bad until you realize that, look what part of the world we're in. We are in Southeast Asia here, okay? This is a tropical, dangerous place, okay? These swamps are full of, spiders and venomous snakes and mosquitoes. Now, you might not think mosquitoes are too bad, but mosquitoes can contract malaria pretty easily, especially during the war. Most of these people probably died of, dysentery and such other diseases, of starvation, things like that. So, mosquitoes actually kill more people a year than any other, natural being, like any other animal, because mosquitoes have so many infectious diseases that can be caused by mosquitoes, such as malaria, like I said. So, that was a big thing. But none of that was nearly as bad as what's coming up. So, in these mangrove swamps that these Japanese soldiers were walking through, they were full of saltwater crocodiles, okay? Now, for those of you, I'm putting you into perspective on what a saltwater crocodile is, okay? This is the biggest reptile on Earth. So this is a saltwater crocodile right here. That's a person. That's a human being. That's the crocodile. Okay? So this is the saltwater crocodile is the largest reptile on Earth. And so basically it's the closest thing to a dinosaur that you're going to get. These things measure like 20 to 30 feet in length. And this mangrove swamp was full of them. And basically, after a while, believe it or not, these alligators started eating Japanese soldiers alive. They literally ate people. And it's estimated that a couple hundred, that as much as 400 to 500 Japanese soldiers were eaten alive by saltwater crocodiles. So let me show you a picture of the Ramree Massacre here. So, I'm trying to find that. This is a really good picture of a crocodile. Yeah. See, they literally eat people alive. This is insane. And hundreds of Japanese soldiers, as they were walking through the mangrove swamps, the alligators would just pick them off. Like, as one was like, going away from the crowd, coming off the beaten path, the crocodile would just eat it alive. And so people literally got eaten alive by saltwater crocodiles, which is actually insane. That actually happened. It's pretty incredible. And most of the Japanese deaths at the Battle of Ramree Island were from saltwater crocodile attacks. Now, a lot of people don't believe this, and this is one of the reasons I'm talking about it. I'm not actually going to go to Ramree Island and visit this, because that might be a dangerous historic site tour. So that's why I'm talking about it here. But basically, people were eaten alive by saltwater crocodiles during World War II, and estimated up to a couple hundred of Japanese soldiers were killed. No one really knows for sure, because there's no bodies, because the alligators literally, or the crocodiles, there is a difference, ate people alive at the Battle of Ramree Island. Now, the thing about these crocodiles that's interesting is a lot of, like, the average lifespan of a saltwater crocodile is up to 70, 80 years. So this event was in 1945, so that was 79 years ago. So there's a possibility that some of the crocodiles that ate those people are still alive today. That's actually a possibility. So that's kind of crazy. Unfortunately, though, a lot of the mangrove swamp now in the 21st century has kind of been more urbanized up, and they've had to do a lot of deforestation in the island of Ramree, so a lot of that natural habitat is not there anymore. But back then, ooh, man. But they had their hunting instincts, like if a person was like, sick, or they were just falling off the beaten trail from the other soldiers, they would literally just snap them off. And even in the middle of the night, you could hear, they would be sleeping wherever they're at, and they could just hear people screaming in the middle of the night. And you heard stories about it, where the crocodiles just grab you by your leg, because you're walking through probably 3 or 4 foot water at this point. I mean, who knows how deep it could be. Just grab you by the leg and just eat you alive. It's pretty incredible that this even happened. Stupid fly for smash. Get out of here! Anyway, but that's pretty incredible. It's a pretty interesting event that a lot of people don't know about, and pretty interesting World War II story there. That's not pretty out of the ordinary. And I'm pretty sure that Ramree Massacre holds the record today of being, I think, one of the deadliest attacks on humans caused by animals. Even today, so that's pretty crazy. But yeah, like I said, the saltwater crocodile, basically the closest thing you're going to get to a living dinosaur today, and this mangrove was full of them. So, yeah. So, let me know what you guys think about that. That was just a little interesting thing I wanted to talk about. The Battle of Ramree Island, or the Ramree Massacre. So, just so you know, crocodiles can eat people, and they will eat people if that's what they need to do to eat, find food. So if you're ever on Ramree Island, I suggest thinking twice before you walk through the mangroves. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye. Wah!